Projection of the final figures is going to be 1,124,000 not registered. That's 62%. It is clear that a huge majority of people are opposed to the household and septic tank taxes. The campaign and everyone involved in it has a vital role to play in making sure that the numbers registering is kept as low as possible. People power and word of mouth can be a lot more powerful than the scaremongering by the government. People understand that this €100 will lead to taxes of 1,000 or more per year, and only give us government more courage to impose more austerity. There cannot be an economic recovery based on these austerity policies, or by throwing money to the banks and bondholders instead of investing it in our local communities. The basis of the campaign for this stage of the struggle can be...
Bear with me here, that's my mistake.
A stand must be made against this economic madness, and people are making a stand by refusing to hand over the money to pay these unjust taxes. This is a struggle that has to develop over the next few months and the next year. Mass non-registration of the tax must be turned into intense political pressure on Labour and Fine Gael. We must demand that this tax is axed, and we must show them that if they attempt to use the law or the courts against non-payers, that they will be met with fierce resistance. They must not get away with the argument that people are breaking the law. The government brought in this law to make us pay for a crisis we didn't create. The findings in the Mahon Tribunal tells us who the real crooks and criminals are. We need to resist this tax in many ways. That means resisting the likes of the ESB if they come and start looking for details. It also means the campaign has to get prepared for court cases. The government is under pressure from the EU, IMF to squeeze another 1.5 to 2 billion out of us per year. The first court cases could be in the autumn, and while it would be impossible to bring everyone to court, it is very likely that some people will be brought to court. The campaign will defend people as much as possible legally, and if any technicality or loophole is found, this must be used to the maximum. But remember, the law is based against ordinary people. This tax will not be defeated legally. The basis of the campaign for this stage can be summed up as follows. Mass non-payment must be maintained. This tax can only be resisted and boycotted. Hold mass non-payment even if court decides against non-payers. To simply obey the law in courts will mean that even more austerity will be imposed. That's why there needs to be organised civil resistance. The strength of the campaign lies in the number of people involved. The more ordinary people who are involved in organising and running the campaign, the stronger it will become. Everyone who wants to boycott this tax and oppose austerity should be encouraged to get involved in the campaign. The campaign will be democratic, and it will be controlled by ordinary people. Other ideas that could be taken on board is to invite TDs to public meetings to explain their position on the tax, where people can hold them to account. People who pay the €5 fee should be encouraged to become active members of the campaign. People already active in the campaign should be encouraging as many people to get involved in the organising as possible. This campaign is about fighting the taxes. It is not about building a platform for individuals or political groups. We stand here together as local people of all political persuasions and none to oppose these taxes. That's what we're trying to do. People, as the campaign develops, decide that they have different agendas. That's for them. But we're here to oppose the taxes. Just to say, there's a protest in Dublin, as you know, tomorrow, and there's also a ticket outside the office in Low at 11 o'clock. But anyone wants to come us to Dublin, they can let us know, and we'll try and organise transport, at least as far as Letterkenny. There's a bus going from Letterkenny. Thanks very much. And just see it. Don't want to get into trouble just to see it, but if Bill Hogan or anyone who's watching YouTube tonight, I'm not registering, I'm not paid. Another thing, we can't do anything now, it seems, without being tied in with the EU. So I say to Sarkozy, oi, Sarkozy, you can pay Enda if you like, but you're not paid us.
Just out of my travels yesterday, I seen the funny side of things and the scary side of things. Right, I went into the council office in Letterkenny and asked if anybody was paying the household charge. And they did have some forms sitting down there below the counter. And I said, well, who's paying? They said, it's mostly old people that are frightened and they don't know. When they're coming in, they're shaking more or less to get in the forms. So there's three people behind the counter, right? We call the three people Levy, Gov and Nasty. So Levy's mother comes in and says, I want to pay the household tax. Levy says, you don't have to pay it, Mum. Gov says, yes, you have to pay it before Saturday, before the deadline, or you get fines. So anyway, I left it at that and I went across. I had another question to ask them. I said, can you tell me where my nearest fire hydrant would be if my house went on fire? Do you know where it is? They said, hang on, I'll get on to Dunlow. So got through to Dunlow and a woman on and Dunlow says, hold on, I need to get the engineer and I'll phone you back, I'll take your number. That was at 1 o'clock yesterday. So I never put on a fire on the site just in case. But, and the other thing is, bogus callers. I heard a rumour yesterday that 16 people, criminals, broke out of a low security prison and they stole some suits and clipboards and they're going around households getting €100 each. It's like, I think, you know, Enda Kenny's living in the past. Like, you go back to 1818 when the windows were blocked out for the window tax. But they said that you wouldn't have to pay it as long as when the war was over. But when the war was over, they still had to pay it. So it was all a bluff. But anyway, in the words of Bob Marley, as they say, get up for your right. And the other one is, you can fool some of the people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
After the protest, so if anyone wants to go to Dublin or anything tomorrow, you can come up there and we'll give you some information. Okay, now we're going to do the white men, because they're all like to come out into the middle of the road.
Don't pay!
that story about the council offices. There's three women, right, that was in the office. We'll say we told you one was Levy, one was Gov. The other one was called Nasty. Not that she was nasty, but on the way to the office, I heard her on the phone. The boss for it, by the way, was Mr. Hogan. And on the way to the office, I could hear the phone go, and she went, "Hello, Mr. Hogan. This is Nasty here."
Everybody for coming here every Friday for all this time. I'm born and bred here, grew up here, and I've never actually ever experienced anything like this. So it's great to see people exercising the democratic right every Friday and going out and marching and voicing their opinion. So I just want to say, brilliant, fantastic, and we're winning. So keep on coming and keep on shouting.
Just thanks to everybody for turning up here every Friday over the last, before Christmas time now, since Owen, Curran, Theresa here and all the Woods family, and everybody's got things organised here, and a very good job. And I'd like to take this opportunity as well to thank everybody that's turned up to Dunfanny there for the protest down there, organised by Colin Ward, for the last couple of weeks there as well, very much appreciated. And thanks to everybody as well from Dunfanny, from Carrach recently, who turned up in the Guinea last week as well, and Gweedore as well, for the protest out there. It's very good to see it as well. To be honest, like, the best economist in the world, I don't think could tell you what's going to happen after tomorrow or tomorrow night, or even a year from today. But nobody can do it. No clairvoyant, no psychic, no nothing can do it. But I think we all know in our own heart of heart, in our own souls, if we look deep enough, we know this, what's going on at the minute isn't right. And anybody who pays it, you may pay it to look good and everything else, but you're really letting the people around you that's not paying it down. And your friends, family, neighbours doing well in some locations, and I know probably difference in houses over it. But me for one, if I went into wherever and paid it, as well as myself down, letting this group down, different groups down, the whole country down, I'm letting all people around my age here beside me, Theresa, others around me here, that are struggling day to day. Every day we get up out of bed in the morning to go to bed at night, with bills, mortgages, one thing and another. And if you're struggling to pay your mortgage, pay your household bills and your groceries and everything else, there's no reason why any government should come along now and push a household tax on you of €100 and just expect you to pay it to pull out bondholders. Because I see it just the front page of one of the papers today where a certain horse has died and it's a loss of 200 million to the horse breeder. That's fair enough, something to go to. But on the other hand, what a lot of people don't know, if you're a horse breeder, if you're a horse trainer, or if you're a horse racer, you don't pay any taxes of any kind. Horse breeders and trainers are exempt from taxes. And they are some of the wealthiest people in this country and the wealthiest people around the world. So people need to be aware of that. And also for people thinking that they're paying this €100 doing good and everything else and going with the law, you're not really. You're reading into a thing that's just actually not true. It's a heap of crap just. And as for people as well thinking, doing the right thing sometimes you stand with people around you that are trying to help you, not go against them and keep them when they're getting it tight. That's been proved back now. You go back to, anyone who's watched the true story films over the years there, you go back to Vietnam, 69, there were people there as well, soldiers there went against their superiors as well, their colonels and everything else, and even went against the American government because they for what they felt was right. They were pulled out of Vietnam, and I was behind the fellow years and stuff. They were pulled out of Vietnam with their helicopter up in the sky ready to go, and to see what was happening below them. And they all turned back, a group of soldiers turned back and saved the people on the ground. And before it was over, the American government had to turn around and offer them more help and help the soldiers. So that's one example of going against governments. Because governments aren't always right. Governments don't know everything. Same situation again, Mogadishu in 92. Black Hawk Down film you've never seen as well. Same situation there, soldiers shot down a helicopter. Governments didn't want to know because they were going against all the fucking red tape in place. But a group of soldiers did go and save them, and they got out of it. And they were made heroes out of it. Same situation in Srebrenica, early 90s. Governments there as well covered up everything. Innocent women, innocent children there were all shot and slaughtered. And the only reason that wasn't covered, two F-16 fighter pilots went up on Christmas Day on a reconnaissance mission just to fly about and patrol the skies. But they were fitted with a new camera, and they decided to drive the new camera. They went off course the new camera, and when they went off course, they seen all the graves below them what had happened. And once they clicked on that, the Srebrenician government seen them off course and they shot them down. They were shot down, one Once they were shot down, they ejected before they landed. One pilot broke his leg, he couldn't escape. The other pilot did escape, and he went to the house and got help. The pilot that was on the ground with a broken leg, they couldn't escape. They shot him because he wouldn't tell them what the other fellow was. So over the course of a few days, the pilot that escaped, the whole army of all Srebrenican army was against him because they knew if they could get him and kill him and get the tape off him, the rest of the world wouldn't see what was going on. But he made it, and thanks to one of his own colonel in the army against government rules, against the army rules, his own colonel and a group of other soldiers went and rescued him, and they got the tape off him. And it brought the whole thing in Srebrenica. It gave the people freedom again, what they didn't have because they were living under government rule. And people don't believe it. It's the fellow behind enemy lines, cheers the sun, Black Hawk down, behind enemy lines, go and get them the next division and watch them. They think I'm telling lies, they're all based on true stories. But whether we like it or not, we're behind enemy lines now at Gaeilge while they're in power. And although they're not out in the streets, not out in the streets shooting us and whatnot, it's not that far away because people are just crippled to the back teeth. And it's time now that people took a stand today, tomorrow, and for the rest of the years ahead and don't pay this tax and stand up for your rights, whether sewer, water, household charge, whatever, and just get educated and don't be afraid to say no, because that's the problem with Irish people. They're always this stigma, don't say no, and if anybody comes around and pressure, it's just handy to say yes. Well, saying yes is not always the right thing, because sometimes saying yes can cause you more harm than what it's going to do good. So as for me, I'm not going to pay the household charge. I'm not paying it because basically I can't afford it. I'm standing in solidarity with all the other people around my own age, older and younger. The people that I've known went to Canada, Australia at the minute, and believe me, a lot of them are breaking their hearts out because not all sunshine in Australia, even though it might be up in the 50s and everything else. The reality at the end of the day, when they're finished the work, the sunshine's not there. So that's all I'm going to say anyway. And Phil Hogan, if you're listening, I'm not going to pay it. And just tough luck. And thank you.